As you can see, the title of this lab is the molar mass of an unknown hydrocarbon. And in this lab, we'll use two independent methods to determine the molar mass of the same unknown hydrocarbon gas. The first will make use of effusion, and the second will make use of the ideal gas law. For the effusion method, we will time how long it takes for 4 known gases and for the unknown gas to effuse through a small opening. Now, effusion time is actually proportional to the square root of the molar mass of each gas. So what we will do is plot the time of effusion on the y-axis versus the square root of molar mass for each of the 4 known gases. Then we will find the slope of that line and use that slope to find the square root of the molar mass for the unknown gas, which then, of course, we can find the actual molar mass from that.
Now you'll see what we have here is a long tube, pretty high-tech stuff, okay? We've got a long tube, it looks like sort of like a graduated cylinder, and then we've got a little tip here with a rubber piece of rubber tubing, and we got a little clamp that cuts off the rubber tubing from the air. We also got a tiny tip here, like a burette tip. All right, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting some gas in this tank, and we're going to be letting it leave this tube by this tiny little opening, okay? And we're going to allow it to, we're going to have to use water to figure out how fast it leaves. So we're going to fill this entire tube with water up to here. We're going to bubble in some of the gas. We're going to close this off. The gas will fill the tube. It will come out the bottom. The water will come out the bottom, and the tube will be filled with the particular gas we're going to be using. Now, if I open up the tube, okay, the gas will then be leaving very slowly by that little tube. Okay, so when I take this off, the water will be filling this up very slowly, depending on what gas we have. And we have these 2 little tape measures to measure a volume of the gas leaving. Because if we want to compare different gases, we have to keep the volume of gas that leaves the tube the same. And so we're going to be timing how long it takes the water to go from one point on this tape to another point on this tape.
Okay, so I took off the clamp, so now it's, the air inside can get outside. I'm going to put it in this very tall graduated cylinder, and you can see the water level is rising in the tube. And what's happening there, of course, is that this air is pushing through the little opening on the top. And the timing we will be doing, basically we'll start timing like right there, the bottom of the first tape, and we'll stop at the bottom of the second tape. Right now we're just putting, actually it was hooked on something, so it wasn't even moving that fast, but when we do it, we won't have it hooked on anything. Okay, so this is basically air flowing through this weird apparatus. And once it gets all the way through, I'm going to clamp the top. So basically, at this point, there's no air, nothing. Well, there's a little bit on the top, but it doesn't really matter. So I've got this tube completely filled with water. So now what I'm going to do is use this funny hook thing. I have lots of canisters filled with different gases. This one is filled with CO2. That one over there, this is another gas. And then I'm going to use air. And I'm also going to use what is mostly methane, but is actually natural gas. And we'll have to give you the molar masses of those. So we're going to see what effect the molar mass of a gas has on how fast it is able to effuse through a small opening. Okay, and it turns out that we know that the effusion time depends on the square root of the molar mass. this natural gas through this tube, which I am going to hook onto the bottom of this tube in here. So let's hook it on the bottom. That's the hard part. Okay. And I'm going to open this. And I have to go, it's not very good pressure, so I have to raise it up. Okay, I'm going to get rid of the tube now. And what I'm going to do is let it go, and I'm going to say start when it passes that the bottom of the first tape. First, I have to take this off. Ready? Start. Stop. Okay, I got 8.05.
I got 7.73.
Oh, good. Actually flush it with air once because it, makes sure all the natural gas is out of there. I'm sure it is, but what the heck.
So we're filling this with water. So we remove any.
Filled it with air.
We're filling it.
Oh, now
With-
yeah, you're right. We're filling the
Filling
tube
with water, so we're flushing out anything that happens to be in there. So hopefully is nothing but water in this tube. Then we'll do our experiment again.
So we're just flushing this time. And next time we're going to do air. What would you say about the rate or the time it takes the air to flow versus the time for the natural gas? What's the difference?
Okay, now we're going to be.
Now I just get your cell phone ready. I'll take this off. When it gets to the bottom of the bottom tape, I'll say start. Start. Stop.
Okay, so we're going to write down our numbers, and we want you to keep your number as well. So now we're going to do carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide's in this awesome tank.
So totally
It's
awesome.
totally awesome.
With a regulator that doesn't work too well, so sometimes we get very big
Very
booms.
big amounts of
CO2.
CO2 coming out of here. So we got a little hook and we got a tube, and let's see if we can control it well. So we can
All right,
fill this
so
with.
I probably should have done this first, but
It's all right. Just got to be really careful. There we go. So we're filling our tubing with carbon dioxide. Oh my gosh.
all right, I'm gonna
Looks like there's a little too much water in this.
I put a lot in so that I'm
Yeah.
flushing this.
Okay.
Small flush. It's always a little messy, the CO2, because it comes out very fast. It's very hard to control it. But, wow. What's a lab for but to
Yeah, but
get
to have a little
messy
fun.
sometimes.
It's only water.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do that again. But I got to get this thing on the bottom hooked in.
Now, if you don't unhook that piece,
Yeah.
it actually doesn't work very well, so. And you can let it sit. Oh, there you go.
Right. If I stand behind
It's
it, I
that
don't know
little
which way to
knob.
move the valve, so I got to
Yeah,
stand
I
on this
know,
side.
I know. You move it in whichever way it works. All right, we're not going to put too much in there. That's a good amount. So now we've got carbon dioxide in our tube. And you can see that the level is below where the numbers are. So we're going to take the tube out.
Get my cell phone ready.
Yep, I got
Keeps
mine ready
sleeping on
too.
me. I'm going to take this out, and I'll say start when the level hits the bottom of the tape. Start. Stop. What'd you get?
12.24.
I got 12.33.
Oh, we're good. We're good.
And this is CO2.
So here are our figures so far. And we're hoping that you'll also have your numbers. And we'll see what we get. I'm taking an average. Notice the numbers ought to be kind of close to each other since we're measuring the same thing. What's our next gas?
Is this the last one of the knowns?
Yes.
We have 4 knowns,
Yes, that's right.
and this is what we call, it's a freon. There are many different freons, but this one, I'm going to give you the formula.
4 fluorines. Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah.
C2F4H3.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no! Ack! That's the wrong formula for freon. Here's the correct one. The simplified formula is C2H2F4. Be sure that that's the formula you have on your data sheet. Hooked in. I gotta get this closed.
So this is the stuff that allows air conditioners to do what they do.
Takes a while to fill this one if I remember right.
I don't know what it is. Oh, there it is.
Jesus.
Oh, there we go. So when you look at the molar mass of this particular gas, you'll notice it's different from the others, quite different. We got plenty in here.
All right, I'm going to take this out,
All right.
and I'm going to just tighten this all the way.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay. Get my cell
right.
phone ready.
So we're going to go through the same procedure.
Release this tip. We're going to say start soon. Start. Stop.
Okay. So mine is 18.39.
Okay. You have to do the unknown because we are going to use this effusion method to figure out the molar mass of this unknown. Does that have a hook on the end, Kathy?
Yes.
Can you help me with it?
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Get this in.
A little tricky.
Flush this one, I think. Oh, I hate this. It doesn't do. All right, let's get this in here. Get all that Freon out or whatever's in there. Can't be Freon anymore, I don't think. But it might be, actually.
Could be. A little bit.
I'm going to flush this a little.
Okay, now we're going to use the unknown gas.
Again. With this crazy.
The first time we had a little mishap, so this time it'll hopefully be better.
Perfect.
You almost need an assistant to do this one.
Need 2 hands here. 3 hands.
Okay.
Give myself a little
That's
longer to
good.
get ready. Take this out. All right. A nice long time here. Start. Stop.
And let's see how close we came.
What'd you get?
13.96.
Oh, very close.
Okay.
All right.
So here is the data we collected, and you need to also add the
Add
data
your
you
time,
collected.
and then average all 3.
Okay, so
Okay.
the average will give us a better idea what the exact, well, close to
The
what
correct
what
value.
correct value should be.
Okay, so for the second part, we're going to use a modification of the ideal gas law that we derived in class. So here's the formula for the molar mass of a gas. It's equal to MRT over PV, which means that if we're able to get a gas sample that we know the mass, the temperature, the volume, and the pressure of, then we can combine those things in that equation and find the molar mass of that gas. Okay, so we weighed a canister with the unknown gas. We got a mass of 73.058 grams and wrote it down on the sheet. Data. Okay. And now we're going to take this over to the apparatus and try to get a different way of measuring the molar mass.
So one thing we want to do is to measure the temperature, and it looks like the temperature here is 20 degrees actually.
To me, looking straight on it, it's like
You think it's 21?
20.1.
21?
Try 20.1. Okay.
So what we're going to do here is we're using the ideal gas law. So we have temperature, I need the volume.
Converting a cylinder. This is a graduated cylinder. We're going to get the volume measurement from in here.
I'm going to use displacement of water.
Okay.
Yeah, so it takes a village to do this.
And I will pass this underneath into the graduated cylinder. And
Okay.
with the other end, I'll shoot some gas in here.
Sure.
Well, let's try it.
So what we're going to try to do is to fill this, but not till the gas comes out the bottom. Getting close to, oh, I stopped.
Good.
All right, so now what we do is we have a cylinder with gas in it. I got to bring it up or down so that the level inside and the level outside are the same. So when I do that, I notice I want the inner level and the outer level to be identical. And then we can measure the exact volume of, or as good as we can.
Can you get it to be right?
Let's see if I can get it to be right. Actually, I probably can. Yes. It looks like 500 milliliters. No, it looks like 475 milliliters, actually. So when I make these two levels exactly equal, the pressure inside of the gas and the pressure outside of the atmosphere are equal. And that's what I have to do in order to measure the pressure of the gas inside the cylinder. So I have the volume now.
All right, so the volume.
Now I have no decimal places because I can't measure that well with
What's the
this
volume?
instrument. 475 milliliters.
And the temperature?
The temperature you
20.1
20.1
degrees C.
degrees C.
And
Okay.
we'll put the mass on from our data table a little later. And here is the data we have so far for trial 1 of part 2 of the Hydrocarbon Lab. We have the mass of the canister before and after dispensing the unknown gas. We have also measured the temperature at 20.1 degrees C and the volume of 475 milliliters. You'll see that on the data sheet there's room for measuring the pressure in the room, the atmospheric pressure, that is. And you'll also see that we have another entry for what the vapor pressure of water is, which we're going to look up in a book in the laboratory, and that's also needed for the calculations that are coming. So you might ask, how are we going to measure the pressure? Well, we measure pressure with a device called a barometer, and we have such a device on the wall of the lab that we used to use for Gen Chem. And here's a picture of such a device, okay? So what it has really is it has a pool of mercury on the bottom, and then as the atmosphere pushes on that pool of mercury, it pushes the mercury up the long tube that you see. And the difference in the height between the top of that mercury column and the surface of the pool of mercury is proportional to the atmospheric pressure. In fact, it gives the atmospheric pressure if you measure the height of the column in millimeters of mercury, which we then know how to convert to atmospheres. So now I'm going to show you what the reading is on the barometer in the Clark Science Building the day Mrs. Sayak and I did this experiment. And we're going to be focusing on that circled area of the barometer from the figure when we do our reading for the atmospheric pressure. All right. So you could see that the pressure here, the level of the mercury, is around 75.5 centimeters of mercury. You could see that. Look at the top of that meniscus. It's actually rounded the opposite way that you're used to. So now what I've tried to do is line up the bottom of this little device here, the bottom of this with the top of the meniscus, and I could get a third decimal place. Let's see. So I would say, except I think I'm a little off on the vernier. It's funny, it's magnified in here. It's actually easier to see. There we go. So I would say it's 754.9 because it's at the 9th line where they line up. I think it's 754.9.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's very nice. We got the pressure in the room, but that's not what we want to know. We want to know what is the pressure of the gas inside the graduated cylinder. For that, I'd like to take you back to an earlier clip.
So when I make these two levels exactly equal, the pressure inside of the gas and the pressure outside of the atmosphere are equal. And that's what I have to do in order to measure the pressure of the gas inside the cylinder.
Okay, so we know that the pressure inside and outside of that graduated cylinder are the same. That means that the pressure we read on the barometer is actually the pressure inside the gas cylinder as well. All right, but there's another complication, and that is that because this gas cylinder is turned over a pan of water, it also will have some water vapor in it. So in order to get the pressure due only to the unknown gas, which we call the partial pressure of the unknown gas, we will have to subtract the vapor pressure of water. The vapor pressure of water depends on temperature. And in the next clip, Mrs. Syak will show you how we get the vapor pressure of water at the temperature of our experiment from a book that we have in the laboratory.
In order to get the pressure of the gas that was in that tube, we have to consider the atmospheric pressure and also the vapor pressure of water at the 20.1 degrees. So what we're going to do is use this wonderful old book. I think Harry Potter left it here, but anyway, it's all true. And we're going to look up the vapor pressure of water. Here's 20 degrees, okay, in degrees Celsius. And so the vapor pressure of water, at 20 degrees is 17.535 millimeters. And so we can use that to determine the final pressure of the gas. So here's the data we collected for trial 1 of this part 2 of the lab. So that's our data. So for trial 2, we're going to do the same experiment again. We're going to put the tubing inside the graduated cylinder that's filled with water. And we're going to push down on the tubing. We're going to get some of this gas in here. Here we go.
Tell me when to stop.
Yeah. Should think about not quite, a little bit more. That's it. All right, we don't want to get too much gas in here.
All right.
So, if I was to equalize the two, I have done that now. Let's see what I have. I equalize the two, I have, I'd say 480 milliliters of gas. So now I can put this, and the other conditions are the same. We have the same temperature, we have the same pressures, and so now we have we're going to mass the cylinder again for the after and see how much gas actually came out. Okay, this is trial 2, and we collected the data. The pressure of the room and the water are the same as the first trial. The temperature is the same, but the volume of gas and the mass of the canister before and after are a little bit different. So we're going to put this into our equation and see what we get for trial 2. And then we're going to take the response from the answer from trial 1, the answer from trial 2, take the average, and that will be the molar mass of this unknown gas. It's the same unknown gas that we used during part 1 of this lab.
Phone went landscape. I'm like, what do I push? What do I push? Did it come out? Oh.
Yeah, it came out.
Oh.
This can be a messy proposition.
Where's that stupid end? I can't get it in.
There it is. You got it.
Got it.
Okay. And so the vapor pressure of water at 20 degrees Celsius is 17.535 millimeters. Millimeters, not centimeters.
Hold on. Is your finger covering it?
It's right here.
Where's your finger?
Where's my finger?
Come on, do it again. Thank you.